Guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be talking about some transfers that have been happening within FIFA itself. Of course they've happened IRL, but these have been moved into our game of FIFA thanks to EA. They've done something right, I guess. And we're going to be looking at which players have moved. All the gold players pretty much, except for a couple. And that's it. There's a couple of silvers and bronze that moved. You can look those up on like Fothead, Footbin, whatever. Or just any internet website that covers that kind of stuff. But we're going to be looking at the gold ones and mainly the interesting ones that have moved within FIFA 20. Starting off with Emre Cholak. He has moved from Alberda in the Saudi League to the second league of Spain to play for RC Deportivo. Not too big of a transfer for FIFA or anything because he's not a great card. He doesn't play in a great league. Doesn't help with any SBCs now. But one of the goals that has transferred. Moving on. A player that has moved away from the Bundesliga, from RB Leipzig, over to play in Turkey, to play for Galatasaray, is Marcel Saracchi. The left back from Uruguay has moved to Galatasaray, getting himself a Champions League card as well. More factors it's going to have, it's going to make the Leipzig SBC arguably a little bit more expensive, because he used to be the second gold left back they had, together with Halstenberg. He of course now is not in packs anymore. And thus will probably push up the price of the SBC just a little bit. Moving on, we actually revealed the next two players. The first one though is Minamino, the last 75 we have on the list. A Champions League rare card he got himself, of course. A new card for him, new special card for him. Very easily got just because we got the transfer, but he's now playing for Liverpool, moving away from RB Salzburg. Another loss for the Red Bull teams. This is going to make the Liverpool SBC maybe a little bit cheaper, which is nice. He could get himself a once to watch, which would be cool. And outside of that, not probably the greatest card for in-game purposes. Only a 75 rated. If you need this card by this point, you're probably just starting out on FIFA. Next up, we have Ndiaye. He is moved away from Stoke. He is done with the cold rainy nights and he's moved to a more sunnier place in Turkey. Going to play for Trabzonspor, my bad. I believe he used to play for this team already, so maybe he's come back from a loan deal or just been bought back. He has an alright well-rounded FIFA card with a nice bit of pace. If he could get himself some special cards, he could actually be a really cool card in-game. But playing in the Super League, not the greatest league for FIFA teams. He would have to wait until team season to even be able to be put in a relevant team if he got himself those special cards. Moving on, we have Askasibar. He has now moved himself up a division because he used to play in the second Bundesliga for Stuttgart. And he has moved his way to Hertha Berlin to go and play in the first Bundesliga. And once again, probably just helps you get the cheaper SBC or the Hertha SBC done for a little bit cheaper. Outside of that, not too amazing of a transfer. It does give you an Argentinian link, should I say, in the Bundesliga as well. So that might make some SBCs a little bit cheaper too. Moving on, we have Alenya moving away from Barcelona to go and play for Real Betis. So staying in La Liga, all this is really going to do is make the Barcelona SBC a bit more expensive, because he's one of the only cheap low-rated goal cards that plays for Barcelona at the moment. But don't be afraid, because we got a new player at Barcelona, instantly getting himself a special card as well, because they got a Champions League card. And that's going to be Arda Turan, moving away from Medipol Başakşehir. I hope I said that right. Back to Barcelona. I think he must be come back from a loan deal or something like that, because I don't see Barcelona buying him back for any reason. He has made his way to Catalonia to go and play for Barcelona again. Just going to help you make the SBC cheaper. Outside of that, not too much influence on gameplay. And then we have GARMASH, who's moved away from the Ukrainian league, from Dynamo Kiev over to Çaykur Rizespor to play in the Turkish Super League. Once again, lots of Turkish players and Turkish league transfers happening right here. Once again, not the greatest of cards. He's pretty well rounded, but of course not very meta at this stage in the game. Very useless, you could say. But he's gonna make this SBC arguably a little bit cheaper. Not too amazing of a transfer in terms of FIFA, but nice to see that he's in the game as well. Then we have ACOSTA, who has moved over from the MLS to the Liga BBVA MX, also known as the Mexican League, of course. moving from DC United to Atlas. This guy, of course, the guy that used to have, or still has, a League SBC reward card. Got himself an 84 and 84 cam card. He's, of course, a 5-star skiller. So for skill teams, maybe this is a nice transfer. I'm not sure. Arguably only makes a DC United SBC a little bit more expensive, because he's now not in packs anymore as a DC United card. And the Mexican League doesn't have any League SBCs as of now. Moving on, we're staying in the Mexican League, because we got Vincent Guzman, who has moved from Pachuca to, and I'm gonna butcher this 100%, Guadalajara. I'm gonna say, that's gonna be my best attempt, I think. The Mexican has stayed within his home league. Alright, well-rounded card. Once again, not too much influence on FIFA itself, so let's quickly move on. Going to Danny Drinkwater, and yes, please do stay hydrated, that is very important. But he has moved from Burnley to Aston Villa, so he's staying in the Premier League, now moving to Aston Villa. Probably going to try and make sure that they don't get relegated. Let's see how he does. For FIFA terms, it gives Aston Villa another goal card to put into the SBC. Actually going to make that quite a bit cheaper, which is very nice indeed. Moving on, we go to the Bundesliga, because they have signed, or well, Leverkusen have signed Ezequiel Palacios. He instantly gets himself a Champions League rare card, because Bayern Leverkusen used to be in the Champions League. Which is interesting, by the way. If a team used to be in the Champions League, a new player still get a Champions League card. Anyway, he looks like a well-rounded centre mid for Bayern Leverkusen. We have a couple special cards. He could be very decent. He has moved from Nunez in the Argentinian League over to Bayern Leverkusen once again. Moving on, we have a player that stayed within the league he was already playing in, which is the Chinese Football League. This is Alan Cavario. He has moved from, let me see, Tianjin Guanjin to Guangzhou. Nice Brazilian striker with a bit of pace, a bit of dribbling on him. Okay shooting with an informal 2. He could be a nice card, and he of course gives some hyperlinks to, I believe, Hulk and Oscar, if I'm not mistaken. That might be the wrong team. But definitely get some Brazilian hyperlinks over into that team. Moving on, we have another Brazilian, this time moving away from the Chinese league. It's Fernando, who's moved to Spartak Moscow from Beijing 1. So he moved from one capital to another capital. Not too amazing. Actually, with a couple of informs. He looks like a very nice around the card, but right now not really too fussed about this card because he doesn't look that great. Anyway, this is just going to make that League SBC a little bit more expensive, most likely. I believe he used to play for Spartak Moscow already, so maybe he's come back from a loan deal. Maybe he's just come back on the purchase. He was already wearing a red kit. Maybe that is a kit from Spartak Moscow already. Moving on from a player that's moved away from Schalke, it's Mark Uth, and he has moved over to Köln, staying in the Bundesliga. Not too amazing of a card, got some nice shooting on him, but that's it. It's just going to change something within the League SBCs once again. Then moving on to a player who has moved to Schalke, moving away from Augsburg this time. So once again, a transfer happening within the Bundesliga. It's Gregoric. Once again, not a great card. Just going to help with the League SBC or change some things in the League SBCs. Not too interesting. Onyekuru then is up next. He has moved from League 1 team AS Monaco over to Galatasaray. I think he must have moved back from a loan deal over there, bought him back. Because he definitely used to play for Galatasaray before. Back in the Super League. Instantly getting himself a Champions League rare card, despite Galatasaray not even being in the Champions League anymore. But this is once again a transfer. This is a usable card. He's got that pace, that dribbling, a little bit of shooting, but mainly this is going to once again influence a bit of the League SBCs. Moving on to Dabour. And I'm no, I'm not gonna dab. We got Dabour, not Dabber, Dabour. He has moved from Sevilla over to the Bundesliga to play for Hoffenheim. I think the only Israeli in gold in the game right now. He's got a well-rounded attacker card for an attacker, but nothing great. Once again, this is just a change within the League SBC and the SBC system overall. Moving on to a guy who's now got his second Champions League card. It's Weigl, who has moved from Dortmund to Benfica, moving from the Bundesliga over to Portugal to play in the capital of Portugal, I believe. I'm actually not sure. Anyway, he gets himself, of course, the same card. Once again, not too great of a card, low pace. Well rounded all the stats, low physical then again. not really a card anyone's going to be too fussed about. This once again just influences SBCs. Then we have Javier Mascherano moving back to his home league. He has moved away from the Chinese league, playing for Hebei China Fortune, if that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, to Estudiantes to play once again in his home league, of course. His normal card, not really that great. No one is going to be really that fussed about it. Once again, this is just something that's going to have an influence on SBCs. Moving on, we've got a couple more players to end of this video. We've got Wayne Rooney, of course, once again leaving DC United, just like teammate or ex-teammate ACOSTA. He's now moved over to the second league of England, play for Derby County. Once again, unless he gets his flashback card, which we could, or any kind of special card, this card is not too amazing right now, and no one is really going to be that fussed about it. Once again, just influencing SBCs. Moving over to Mattia Perin, who of course has moved away from Juventus over to Genoa, probably because he had too much competition, because he had Buffon and Wojciech Szczesny in front of him. So now moved back to Genoa. I believe he already used to play for them. Might be a loan deal, might be a full transfer, I'm not too sure. Half decent keeper card, needs a couple informs to really compete with the good keepers in the game. So once again, probably not anyone too fussed about using this card in his team. Anyway, it does make the league SBC section of Juventus quite a bit more expensive, most likely. So that's a little bit of a shame for us who want to complete those SBCs. But anyway, not too crazy of a transfer. And then moving on to the final transfer. Once again, a card that's a normal card is not that usable. It's Ibrahimovic. Of course, everybody hoping for that flashback Ibra. Somehow EA haven't given it yet, but everybody's hoping for it. Now, of course, playing for Milan, moving away from LA Galaxy. Another player that's moved away from the MLS to play in Italy to a club he's already played for and had a very, very successful time at. But that's going to do it for this video. Those were all the interesting transfers that have been implemented into the FIFA game. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like and subscribe down below and make sure you turn on notifications so you won't miss a future video. That will be it, and hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.